It's kind of about community. I mean, that's why I race is like the community part. Like after the race, you're telling the stories. Just it's like this extended family community that I have. And then it's just when it all comes down, it's just a race. Like sometimes I can get so worked up about the results, and that I need to just be like, hey, I'm so lucky that I'm skiing through the woods that I can even do this. There's so many people that can't.
Welcome to the Birch Legacies podcast. We are sharing stories celebrating the motivation, the perseverance, and the lifestyle choices necessary to reach the status of Birchlegger. That is, skiers who have completed 20 or more Birkies, Korteloppets, or a combination of both. We would love to hear from Birchleggers young and old who have a story to tell about what keeps them coming back year after year. Information about appearing on this podcast is in the podcast notes. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Birch Legacies, a podcast about and for Birchleggers and anyone who's interested in the Birkebeiner. Today, our guest is Kim Rudd, someone I've known for a long time as a coach in the high school ranks. And we're so happy to have you on, Kim, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be with you.
So we like to always start out with a little context to let folks know kind of a little of your history, what you're about, where do you live, what do you do, what's your career if you can, and then kind of what other sports do you do?
Sure. Yeah, I grew up in St. Paul area, went to Roseville High School, and right now currently I live still in the Twin Cities in Plymouth, and we have a cabin up in Cable, like Hayward, between Hayward and Cable by Double O.
Yeah.
So went to Bemidji State University and kind of fell in love with skiing right kind of as a youth. My parents, in the 70s and 80s bought, the whole family, the kit, the 3-pin binding, the fish scales. And those were actually the skis then that I used for high school racing my freshman year. And then I just skiing just propelled me. It was like I was a very shy kid. So it was just something that really got me going in a good direction.
Yeah. As you know, as a coach, a high school coach, it's such a cool group of kids, and they are so supportive of each other because they're all going through a lot to be out on the snow, and not a lot of other people know what they're going through, and so it's a great place to find your group.
Yeah.
So you skied for Roseville High School?
Yeah, ski for Roseville High School. Well, my first year was Ramsey, and then we combined schools, so it became Roseville. So John Strand, who had been there forever, was my coach, and then Muriel Gilman came down to do a clinic at Finn Sisu way back when, and then I was interested in going up to Bemidji, so we did the Bemidji-a-thon, and that's how I kind of got exposed to college racing. I didn't even know about junior nationals and all that stuff. It just there wasn't the clubs back then that there is now. So, so that's mainly why I went to Bemidji State. And that's where I met my husband as well, and some great other individuals. Muriel Gilman was an excellent coach. And that just, as a kid, I didn't travel a lot. Parents didn't have a lot of cash. My dad was a contractor. So with skiing, I was able to go to the UP and go to Bend, Oregon and different places, Lake Placid for nationals. So that really allowed me to get out and see different, there's a lot of skiing in the United States. So that was really fun.
So it sounds like you were I know you're a great athlete, but it sounds like you were good pretty early. Did you come from other sports like running, cross-country running and those kind of things?
I did track one year. I didn't really like going around and around, but I always, I road biked a lot on my own. Soccer was my main thing and skiing.
Okay.
And then I just kind of did other training on my own.
Sure.
And then I did cross-country running in college. And so those were kind of my main things.
When did you get around to skiing a Birkie?
Okay, so I got into marathon skiing. Our team was cut my senior year, so the whole team signed up for the Korteloppets, and 1993 was my first marathon, and then from there I was like, oh, I love this. And so then the following 1994, I think, was my first Birkebeiner. I think I was in wave 3, and I think that was probably the most special because I had no clue. I hadn't really been on the Birkebeiner Trail ever.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea how many hills there were, and just being with everyone. And that was, fantastic.
Well, talk us through what you remember from that first one. That's one of the things I love to hear is, kind of obviously, like you just said, it's a surprise when another hill is around the corner.
Well, I just couldn't believe. I thought, oh my goodness, I looked up at the first couple big hills and I thought, this looks like a downhill. I
Yeah,
had no
exactly.
idea how long and big these hills were. I just, thinking in Minnesota and Wisconsin that there wasn't that many hills, but so that was it. And then the finish, of course, is always spectacular. I've done, my husband and I a few years ago did the Norwegian Birken, and
Yeah.
comparatively speaking, ours is just so much more fun.
Yeah.
And like you finish, and there's not a lot of hurrah in the Norwegian one.
Right.
And in ours, it's you, no matter how fast or slow you're going, you feel like a superstar.
Yeah.
Especially with the new bridge they have, you just. Whew.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love our finish. And last year though was spectacular too. I would say the 50th. I wasn't looking forward to going around and around, and I don't know how many years I'll be in the elite wave still, but being able to start with my daughter, and then
Hmm.
I felt like I was in a World Cup because there's so many people
Oh, there were.
watching,
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
I was like at the back end of it as a Birchlegger. But it was really quite quite cool to have that many people cheering you on.
That was definitely a make lemonade out of lemons year. That the memories and just the things that I don't think we could anticipate how much more exciting it was to have a crowd all around us. As you know, I had people that as I did the laps, was like, "Oh, he's going to be on this corner. I'll wave at him early this time because I know where he is, waiting." That kind of thing. So, yeah,
Yeah,
what a great experience, and congrats to the entire staff at the Berkey for making that happen.
yeah.
Yeah, the Birkin is interesting. I did it as kind of a bucket list thing in 2016, and for those that haven't been there, it's about a 15-kilometer long gradual climb, then ski across the plateau, and then come back down. And the folks there, it's funny, they don't. It seems like they don't take it as seriously as as we do. The bibs were strewn all over the ground afterwards. People just take the bibs off and throw them on the ground. Where mine's on the wall right up there. So yeah, I'm looking at my Birkin bib right now. So let's go back to, you are in the elite wave and you've been an elite athlete. In fact, you've been working with one of the manufacturers, right, in the past?
Yes, yeah. Right kind of after college racing, came back to the Twin Cities, started doing marathons, and then I got connected with Rosignol. And back then they had a marathon Rosignol team, and so we kind of wore
Yeah,
the
yeah,
team suits. And Jim Fredericks was ahead of that, and there was quite a big team across the whole U.S. And so I would go to different races, most in the Midwest. But yeah, so that was real fun. Rosignol has been a great group of people and company to work with.
when you think about the Berkey and I know you mentioned your daughter too. How is it that you've been able to kind of balance all those things? You've got daughters who are excellent skiers and race and have raced, and you're an active family in a lot of different ways. How have you found the balance, and where does the Berkey fit into that?
Yeah, there was some years there I'm like, I don't know if I don't think I could do that schedule now. But yeah, there was times where I was coaching. I was working at the Lopet Foundation for 10 years, coaching and head of the program for trail kids, and also coaching adults, which I love. I have a women's group that I've coached the last, I don't know, 15 years, and super fun. But you added on high school racing. So I was head coach with Steve Hopke
Yeah,
for 10 years, and so sometimes I'd feel like I was outside all day.
yeah, no, I know.
And so that was hard. It was fun, but it was like, whoa, I think I got a little burnt out. And I think it takes a toll on your racing when you do too many things in your life,
Yeah,
especially if you're on the snow all the time. So yeah, I would say I survived it, but
yeah,
it definitely, yeah, I still I wanted, even coaching, I felt like I wanted to be inspiration to some of the kids I coached
yeah,
too,
yeah, for
and
sure.
get them. We'd take them up to the Birkie Trail for our Christmas camp, and we do on the Birkie Trail. We go to Giants Ridge, but just to show them like, hey, you can keep doing this as a lifetime sport. And every year, we have people come to the cabin after the Birkie, a lot of
Yeah.
the alumni skiers. And last year we did a polar plunge in our lake and
Oh,
had some of
good for you.
yeah, I had
Wow.
some of the kids come. And so that's been most inspiring, is to see like the kids I've coached for trail kids become coaches. They're racing in college. They're, passing on the baton, and that's been fun. But yeah, it's definitely been, both my girls have had some complications with surgeries with compartment syndrome. So Leah, my daughter, this will be her first year doing the Birkie,
Okay.
because she was at Montana State racing for them, but she had compartment syndrome. So she had that surgery plus 2 other surgeries on her legs, and she's finally doing good, but that took a toll on her. And so she did the Birken with us. That was her
Yeah.
first marathon in Norway. And now we're going to go back to do the Swedish Vasaloppet
Oh, wow.
next
90K.
Wednesday, right after the Birkie.
Ouch. 90K. That's a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and then in my other daughter, Hannah, she raced for 4 years at UAA, and then she was professionally racing on the BSF team, and now she's in nursing school, but she's coming back as well to race.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, it's been fun to do as a family,
Yeah.
and
Well, that's the thing is, once you reach Birchlegger, you get to the point, doing the math, and I mentioned this in a previous episode. When you do the math, you have to be of a certain age to reach Birchlegger status, and by then you might have a family catching up, and they might be starting to ski and so on. So, yeah, I actually have a granddaughter doing the Barney Berkey
okay.
Thursday, so I'm super excited. It's the first time I've had
Oh,
one of my grandkids join in. So those kind of transitions, having your children be involved and having other friends and so on continue. So you mentioned you have a place to stay, so you've got that kind of covered, right, up in the neighborhood or
yeah,
up in the area.
yeah. We for years, John and Diana Munger
Hmm.
brought our family up there, and so we'd go there, and they kind of exposed us to the mountain biking, the skiing up there, and then we finally got a place about 10 years ago, close to Double O, which has been wonderful. Yeah, so that's nice. Before that, we stayed all different cabins, and that was really fun, different groups. And yeah,
Yeah,
so this year we'll have my 2 daughters and then my daughter's boyfriend with us.
very good tradition. So now you, being as a high quality skier as you are, are there still individual races you remember that were really really great, or ones where something didn't go well that you could share memories of?
Yes. Well, yeah, I would say there's been a lot of Birkies where it took me a long time to figure out how to eat and hydrate. And I just, kind of got ahead of, got too excited, went out maybe a little too fast, and then really hit the wall. So yeah, which I think almost every person experiences throughout the
Yeah.
years, of just legs cramping, barely making it across lake. One of the Birkies, just a few years ago, I broke a pole before entering the lake. I was trying to take a feed, and the pole went right into my stomach and then just snapped.
Ouch.
And so I'm skiing on the lake, and then up behind me comes John Delaney, who I coached at Armstrong, was one of
Yeah.
my top skiers, and he broke his pole too.
Oh,
So I was just kind of like, it's hard on the lake when you just
yeah.
have one pole. And so he could have gone way faster, but he's like, all right, Kim, let's finish together. And we can, because he had broke his left pole, I broke my right. So then we come down Main Street and then we finish hand in hand. And so that, I would say that would probably pretty fun experience doing that with John. And just no matter what the race throws at you, you just keep going.
Yeah. When you think about the different races and you prepare for things, and then all of a sudden the night before, 4 inches of snow or 10 inches of snow, or it's 12 below, or, things that you just can't predict.
Oh,
And
yes. I would say the coldest race I've done was probably the City of Lakes Lopet, when it was 20, 15, 18 below it. And, then you're coming across those lakes. And that was the only race I wore my warm-ups in, because it
yeah,
was,
no,
everyone looked like monsters. We had all the tape, on our face, and
yeah.
people's eyeballs froze. And
Oof. No, that's just it. In fact, I was just listening to the Berkey update, and they were just warning folks to be really careful on Wednesday for the open track that it's going
Yeah,
to be below zero at the start, and it may not get above zero depending on how the final weather works out. But it's going to be a struggle, and I'm going to be out there volunteering at Mosquito Brook, so I normally don't have to dress all that warm, but I'll be wearing everything I own. Kind of back to the
yeah,
coaching days. You and I
right.
both, we've stood
Oh,
out there for section races, and you just prepare yourself in the morning. Okay, I'm going to be outside for 8 hours, and while I'm doing it, I'm going to have to find a way to stay warm and still wax skis and cheer
yeah.
kids and
I
keep the
think being a
clock.
coach is probably more tiring than doing the Birkies. Sometimes
Some
the
days,
section, the section conference state meet. I remember, we had conference meet, and then the section was like right after the Lopet races. And
hmm
back then, I would do the sprints, and then I did the skate race, classic race, like all three, and then we had sections on Monday, and it just, yeah, I was just toast.
there's so many people involved in this sport that do so many different parts of it. And, you and I both are very interested in making sure young people have a chance to have the opportunity on the trail, whether it's doing the pre-Birkie or the Cordy to kind of get their feet wet. And then you want them to continue. And like you, I have a lot of alumni that are skiing on this week. And I just love, following them on Strava and getting, kudos back and forth for our workouts in the summer. And, it's just really rewarding. And can you speak to that a little bit for yourself? Kind of how does the Berkey fit into, your life, and what has it kind of meant to you over the years to be a part of the Birkebeiner?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's morphed and developed so much from just a race to like a community and like traditions. Yeah. The whole week going up there, the songs, just getting excited. So, yeah, I mean, my kids did the junior Birkies, the Barney Birkies, all that. So it's kind of about community. I mean, that's why I race is like the community part.
hmm
Like after the race, you're telling the stories. Just it's like this extended family community that I have. And then it's just when it all comes down to it, it's just a race. Like sometimes I can get so worked up about the results
hmm
and that I need to just be like, hey, I'm so lucky that I'm skiing through the woods, that I can
Yeah.
even do this. There's so many people that can't.
Yeah.
So I need to like have a mental check because I think sometimes we get so stuck in our head and results and this and that. And as we get older, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
We get slower and slower. So yeah, just being grateful and thankful that we have this beautiful venue to do it, and so many great people to connect with.
Very well said. I want to thank you for the time you're spending today with me. Do you have any advice or words for people that are working on getting up to the Birchlegger status, or just want to get out there for the second one because they didn't think they'd ever do one again?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think just joining a group of people to go out and ski with and train. That's one of the reasons I started Endurance Adventures trips is to connect people. Like right at COVID, everyone was kind of in their solo. And so through the Lopet Foundation and through my coaching and my trips, I've been able to connect people, and it's just more fun and exciting to train long distances when you have a group of people. So
Well, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about the adventure travel business that you have, and how can people kind of learn more about it?
sure. Yeah. I started it like almost 3 years ago when returning from Norway. We had visited one of the boys that I coached on at Armstrong
hmm
was from Norway, and so he came back to do our Birkie, and then we went to Norway to do theirs, and we just had this great relationship with their family, and they basically made our travels to Norway really smooth, and they planned everything. And I'm like, oh, it's so much more relaxing when you have someone else show you the way, where to
Yeah.
go. And so that's gave me the idea that I'd like to do that and started Endurance Adventures. So I do mountain bike trips, ski adventures, Alaska, Canada, Washington, um, all different
hmm
venues and places. So I kind of plan out all the details, and then I provide coaching and just community. Usually it's around 12 people. I like to keep it like smaller, kind of
hmm
more intimate. And yeah.
Oh, that's great. I was looking at your website, and by the way, for listeners, I'll put the website in the podcast notes. But I was looking at the website, and it looks like some really cool things. And where's the next trip you're taking?
But I think the next one actually will be in Arkansas, a mountain bike trip.
Oh yeah, down in that.
Yeah.
What's the name of the city that's kind of the mountain bike mecca there?
Bentonville.
Bentonville, that's it. Yeah,
Yes.
some friends of mine had traveled to Bentonville, and they're going back every year now because they just had such a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But although I will say that the Birkie start area now, that is, hopefully will be kind of the arrival to Bentonville for a lot of things.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The mountain bike trails that they're developing is just great at Telemark.
Well, thanks so much, Kim, for being with us and taking time out of a busy Birkie week. I know there's a lot going on, and you're heading up you told me you're heading up tomorrow to the cable area where I'm sitting right now. So
yeah.
So yeah, thanks, Kim. Thanks for being here, and I appreciate everything you've done for kids and what you're doing to inspire young people to continue skiing.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening. Please check out the podcast notes to see links to the Birch Leggings Club and the Birkie website. If you've skied a combination of 20 Birkies and or Korties, I encourage you to join the Birch Leggings Club. If you'd like to tell your Birkie story, please contact me, John Peterson, at my email listed in the podcast notes or by filling out the guest application form linked there. Please subscribe to our program wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. You can also text us directly from your phone or computer using the quick link in the notes to let us know how we are doing.